I represent District 29 in Durham. Good afternoon. We're here today because of a new development in the ongoing coal ash scandal in the McCrory administration. Now, here's what we know. In the deposition released about 2 months ago, the state's toxicologist, Ken Rudo, testified he believed well water near Duke Energy coal ash ponds was unsafe. But that he was later summoned to the governor's office and pressured to rescind the do not drink order he issued as a result of that unsafe water. According to Dr. Rudo, Governor McCrory called Mr. Ellis, the communications director for Governor McCrory, on the phone during their meeting. Governor McCrory's chief of staff, Thomas Stiff, held a late night press conference and accused Dr. Rudo of perjury and of rogue science. Now, in response, the state's top epidemiologist resigned because McCrory's administration was, and I quote, deliberately misleading the public. Yesterday, new testimony was made public in which Mr. Stiff, the chief of staff, admitted under oath he did not even read Dr. Rudo's testimony, did not speak to legal counsel, and did not confirm the details of the meeting with the governor before he accused Rudo of lying and attacking Rudo's reputation. Now, according to Mr. Stiff, when he told the governor he intended to accuse Rudo of perjury in a 9 p.m. press conference that night, all the governor said was, use your judgment, do the right thing. Now, I don't know if that's code. Since he is the chief of staff for the governor, he's one of his trusted confidants. I don't know if that's code when he said, use your judgment, do the right thing. But we see what happened. Well, it's time for us to follow that advice and use our good judgment and make sure the right thing is done in this case. And this story doesn't add up. And that's why the governor's chief of staff should have checked it with Governor McCrory to see if the testimony was accurate. He could have done that. He didn't do that. Why wouldn't he read the testimony himself, or at least check with the legal counsel before accusing a 28-year state employee, a professional, someone who has jurisdiction and authority over ensuring citizens of North Carolina have good, clean drinking water? Why would he accuse him without having any fact or any basis or any legal advice? Why would that happen? Moreover, why did Mr. Stiff respond at all? He didn't have to respond. The governor and Mr. Ellis were the two who were apparently in the meeting, not Mr. Stiff, so he didn't have any personal knowledge of what happened, and neither the governor nor Mr. Ellis have specifically refuted any of Dr. Rudo's testimony. So why did Mr. Stiff feel compelled, after being told by the governor, do what you think is right? In the months since the accusations, Mr. Stiff has testified that he only discussed Rudo's testimony with individuals not on the state staff, not state employees, but other individuals outside of government. Well, how can that be? Now, this has been a major ongoing story. It's undermined families' confidence and possibly their health and the safety of families. And the governor's chief of staff has not discussed it with anyone. He hasn't discussed it with anyone. This is a major story about the health of North Carolina citizens. One of two things is happening here. Either the governor's office is completely failing to respond to the valid concerns of North Carolina's families to an appalling degree, or they're flat out lying about the actions that the governor and his staff took to benefit Duke Energy, who employed McCrory for almost 30 years prior to this happening. So we need to use our judgment to do the right thing here. It's troubling that the SBI has failed to investigate this matter, and we must get to the bottom of this very serious issue. But for the moment, one thing's clear. The governor's chief of staff falsely accused a state employee of lying under oath, either intentionally or because of ineptitude so broad that it's almost inconceivable. Families deserve to know if their drinking water is safe, because the actions of Mr. Stiff, many are not sure. The governor should investigate this matter with an independent investigation he should put Mr. Stiff on probation or suspend him and instruct him to cooperate fully with the investigation. He should disclose all information, and then a decision should be made after the investigation as to who should keep their job and who should be fired. And if Mr. Stiff's conduct is determined to be inappropriate, unethical, or illegal, then he would have to go. Now, there are some other victims of this action, and that, of course, is Dr. Rudo and Dr. Davis, who were speared professionally by the governor's administration, therefore smeared by the state of North Carolina. They deserve a public written apology from the governor and his staff, who attempted to tarnish their professional reputations, and their personnel records should reflect that, and it should be placed in there as an official apology. They're citizens of North Carolina too. They've given great service, and even Dr. Davies resigned rather than be part of this smear job. I'll take your question.
At this point, does it appear to you that the government is just politicizing this whole action?
At this point, the question of whether the coal ash issue is being politicized is the key item. And the reason that's key is because families have come to the legislature. The cancer clusters around the coal ash ponds have been documented. And the people have been told, don't drink the water. And Duke Power, Duke Energy had to provide them safe drinking water. And later, they were told the water is all right. You no longer have a right to receive assistance in getting clean drinking water. Now, we all take clean drinking water for granted. It appears that the governor's administration has been caught in this lie, and they don't know how to extricate themselves. There's only one way to get public confidence. That's to go back, have an independent investigation, and follow the results. And whoever was responsible for deceiving North Carolina citizens and putting their health at risk needs to be terminated.
You said it was either incompetence or a lies that were at the beginning of this. Which one do you think is more likely? What do you think it was?
Well, I think we've established, and Mr. Stiff has established, that he didn't have a basis for making the statements he made. So now we go into the motivation. Did he knowingly make statements, which he indicated he did, that were not factual? Did he hope they would be true later? We're not sure. Was he instructed by the governor in that code language he revealed to make these false statements, or these statements that weren't supported by fact? If that's the case, that independent investigation will show that, and we need to take the action based on that. You have any other questions?
No, sir.
All right, gentlemen, well, thank you so much, and we appreciate you coming out.